Everyone who spends money is part of the trillion-dollar credit economy. This includes many areas such as tithes, credit, debt, income, expenses, credit score, taxes, laws, savings, investments, and estate planning. This workshop focuses on credit and debt because these are double-edged swords that affect every aspect of your life, either positively or negatively. Since God set wealth in order at creation, this workshop is biblically focused to teach us how credit works, so we can follow the universal principles of wealth that allow us to serve God and not debt. Americans are drowning in debt, and poor credit is costing far more than money. This means if you follow the world's blueprint, you will be broke, busted, and disgusted. These charts show the impact of poor credit on all aspects of our lives. As you can see, poor credit is more than a financial setback. It's a life disruptor. It can limit your ability to secure housing, transportation, insurance, and employment while driving up the cost of everyday living. A low credit score can trap you in high interest rates, predatory lenders, and repeated rejections. It often creates barriers to rebuilding credit and achieving long-term financial stability. The effects reach into your health, contributing to stress, anxiety, depression, impotency, high blood pressure, weight gain, and even chronic conditions like diabetes. Relationships can suffer, leading to strain, loss of trust, and in some cases, divorce. Spiritually, poor credit can become a form of bondage that robs you of peace. It distracts you from your God-given purpose and restricts your ability to give generously and to steward resources faithfully and responsibly. Satan smiles when we allow debt to keep you locked into a cycle of scarcity and worry rather than enjoying the freedom and provision that God desires. Conversely, a healthy credit profile can open doors to opportunities in housing, employment, low interest mortgages, investment property, loans, and business lines of credit. The reality is that the higher your credit score, the more of your hard-earned money you can keep and use to bless others and serve God. If you or anyone else you know can relate to any of the areas on this chart, this credit and debt workshop is for you. If you or anyone you know feels financially stressed because there is more month at the end of the money, let me say this plainly, it's not your fault. The world's financial system is designed to keep you in financial bondage and trapped in a cycle of debt that often passes from one generation to the next. The worst part is we are leading our children to the slaughter down the same broke path. In fact, according to payments.com, approximately 78% of U.S. consumers are living paycheck to paycheck. And that includes those who earn over six figures. In addition, the age group between 18 to 39, they have the highest delinquency rate, while Experian quotes the total amount of debt per consumer at $105,000. Millennials also face surging debt owed to housing and student loans. And even our elderly that are 70 and over are in increased debt after retirement due to medical expenses and the high cost of living. As a certified housing and credit counselor, I've seen firsthand the traps, the lies, the manipulation, and the spiritual warfare happening in our finances. The sad part is it is not supposed to be this way. The Word of God contains universal principles of wealth with instructions for credit and debt. In fact, there are more scriptures on finance, money, and stewardship than any other topic. God's word calls us to live free from debt so we can walk in blessings, generosity, and wise stewardship. His plan is that we lend and not borrow, avoid the bondage of owing others, and fulfill our obligations with integrity. We are to steer clear of risky pledges, count the cost before committing, and manage resources faithfully so we can provide for future generations. In God's economy, financial freedom is a spiritual responsibility that reflects wisdom, integrity, and preparation for lasting legacy. God never intended for us to be so busy we don't have time to change our minds or so broke we can't pay attention. Obviously, there is a serious contradiction between our birthright to succeed and the reality we live with daily because we don't follow God's blueprint. A lot of people buy what they want and pray for what they need. They are deceived because the world packages that as a dream. They wrap it in flashy ads, easy payment, and social media fluff, and success stories that are nothing but illusions. Even worse, they target our youth and our children. They entice them into financial slavery before they even graduate high school. As a result, our youth grow up learning how to work hard to make money, but lack any training on how to prioritize, budget, or manage their hard-earned money. This results in generation after generation drowning in financial illiteracy, who make poor financial decisions that can have lifelong consequences. I am Sandra Brazelton, and you are at the right place at the right time. I developed this spiritually based blueprint based on my 30 years of experience as a CEO, retired engineer, real estate broker, certified housing and credit counselor, consultant, mortgage professional, real estate instructor, and #1 best-selling author. This workshop will provide a 360-degree view of biblical finance for beginners. It is loaded with life-changing information, spiritual inspiration, action items, and bonuses. And just for sticking around until the end, I will provide you free access to the spiritually based tools that I developed and use as a certified housing counselor, credit counselor, and consultant. Remember, the credit and spending decisions you make, good or bad, affect all aspects of your life. So let's make informed spiritual decisions. This is our legal release, disclaimer, and copyright protection notice. This is an overview of our powerful agenda. Under wealth protection, I'll share a case study where a client would need 21 years to pay off a $4,000 balance, and that will show you that the credit system is stacked against you. We'll do a deep dive on your credit score, how it's computed, and how you can fight back against predators and debt collectors. You'll see how the credit system is intentionally designed to keep you in debt generationally and how they trick your children into debt with fake news. The bonuses will give you the tools to fight back. This is a complete 360 blueprint, and it is my honor to empower you with this information. Let's lay the foundation with the credit blueprint. The credit blueprint, how it works and how to make it work for you. Credit is the use of other people's money. We call that OPM. That means that someone else is loaning you the use of their money in return for the interest that you pay. The interest rate is tied to the amount you borrow, your credit score terms, and your credit knowledge of how to negotiate. And your payment can be based on simple interest or compound interest. The goal of the creditor is to earn as much interest as possible while keeping the minimum payment low so you stay in debt longer. This is my warning. This can be an expensive credit trap if the majority of your monthly payment goes to interest and very little of your monthly payment is used to reduce the amount you borrow. This real world case breaks all of this down, so take good notes. Case study. Who's in your wallet? The 21-year credit card, how $4,000 becomes $13,789. Put on your seatbelts and follow along with me on this example from one of my clients who would take 21 years to pay 3 times more than the $4,000 she borrowed. This should make you sick on the stomach and set off alarms, but it happens all the time. This statement shows an annual interest rate of over 30%. The scary part is that a minimum payment of $149 on only a $4,104 balance would take 21 years to pay off the card. And the consumer would pay back $13,789. That's over 3 times more than the amount borrowed. Look closely and you see that the minimum payment is $149 and the monthly interest is $105.20. Do you see how banks win and consumers lose? They suck you in through small, manageable payments that stretch into decades of bondage. The cost is more than dollars. It's the loss of dreams, delayed goals, and the silent stress that keeps you up at night. Based on these terms, this consumer would pay $9,785 in interest alone. This is money you could have tithed, invested, saved, or used to build your future. And every single month, $105 of your payment is swallowed up by interest, and that does not touch the real debt. If you think knowledge is expensive, try ignorance, says Derek Bach. The truth is, if you don't take control of your credit will control you. So let's break free, learn the rules, understand the numbers, and commit to a payoff plan before your $4,000 becomes a 21-year sentence. Now that you've seen how one $4,000 balance can balloon into over $13,000 in debt, it's time to talk about the silent partner in every credit decision, and that's your credit score. Your score doesn't just reflect your past, it shapes your future. It decides how much you pay for cars, home insurance, and even whether you'll get that dream job. So let's pull back the curtain and see exactly how your financial habits and your debt are writing your credit story. Credit score pitfalls and secrets. A credit score is a 3-digit number, typically ranging from 300 to 850, that represents your credit worthiness or how likely you are to repay borrowed money as agreed. Your credit score is computed and reported by credit bureaus. Credit bureaus gather data on names and addresses of creditors, balances, payment history, past due amounts, employment, rental history, and more. This information is reported by banks, mortgage companies, landlords, credit card companies, student loan companies, and other companies that are members of the credit reporting agencies. The 3 major credit reporting agencies are Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. Different lenders report to different bureaus, so your credit score may vary from each bureau. Also, there are over 40 different scoring models. So the middle score, sometimes called the FICO, is used in a lot of cases. However, some companies only use the score from one bureau, so it's important that you have a healthy credit score from all 3 bureaus. For example, apps like Credit Karma only report to 2 bureaus, and the score cannot be used by mortgage companies. This means you are not provided a complete credit profile. Also, the algorithms that mortgage companies use are different, so your score may vary when you apply for a mortgage. How is your credit score calculated? Your credit score is calculated based on proprietary mathematical algorithms. Payment history is 35%. This is your track record. Are you paying your bills on time every time? Amount owed is 30%. High credit usage lowers your credit score even if you pay on time. So keep balances under 30% of your available credit. One hint is to ask for a credit balance increase so you can lower this ratio without spending additional money. Length of credit history is 15%. The longer your accounts are open and in good standing, the better your credit score will be. New credit is 10%. Too many inquiries or new accounts in a short period can hurt your score. Credit mix is 10%. This is based on a variety of account types that include credit cards, mortgages, auto loans, student loans. This demonstrates financial maturity. The vicious cycle of credit abuse. Credit is a privilege that does not have to be extended to you. Also, the company extending the credit has the right to lower your credit limit if they believe you are at risk for not being able to pay. This can be caused by late payments or using too much of your credit limit. They can also cancel your account. Why is your credit score important? Your credit score is not just a number, it's your financial shadow. It is a digital reflection of your faith, reputation, discipline, integrity, character, priorities, and stewardship. When mismanaged, it becomes a weapon against you. When aligned with God's principles, it becomes a tool to serve God and others. Credit is character. Healthy credit comes from a willingness to pay, not just the ability to pay. It requires strong character, consistency, honesty, and self-evaluation. Your credit score did not get there overnight, and it will not go away overnight. It requires prayer, education, desire, patience, persistence, and consistency. You must take action and accountability. Do not depend on quick fixes like credit repair companies that charge a monthly fee but provide limited counseling to help you and may charge you for long periods of time without measurable results. You don't fix credit with quick fix gimmicks. You must first heal yourself from the inside out with knowledge and commitment. You must know and accept the truth about your financial triggers and weaknesses. All success is from the inside out. You must confront the fear of miseducation and change by first changing your mindset and then your actions using a spiritually based plan. Our next section will share 12 powerful godly credit habits for financial peace. 12 godly credit habits for financial peace. Credit can be used to destroy you or to build wealth. The goal is to not let poor credit decisions control you. Credit should only be used for building assets and God's purposes, not to patch bad spending habits. Healthy credit protects your harvest. A high score means a lower interest rate, more savings, and more resources for God's work. Your credit score is part of your character and testimony. The wicked borrow and do not repay, but the righteous walk in integrity. Psalms 37, verse 21. Follow these 12 godly credit habits for financial peace. Pray over your finances. Invite God into the decision and trust His promises. Praying over your financial decisions honors God and invites God's wisdom, covering guidance and discernment into choices that can shape your present stability and future legacy. Prayer seeks divine alignment and ensures decisions honor biblical principles and align with God's will rather than impulse or pressure. Prayer guards against traps. It helps avoid debt, greed, or unwise investments by seeking clarity and peace before acting. Prayer builds faith over fear. Prayer reduces anxiety by trusting God's provision and timing. Prayer promotes stewardship. Prayer encourages managing money as a tool for kingdom impact, generosity, and long-term security. Trust God's promises and provisions. I have not seen the righteous forsaken or his seed begging bread. Psalms 37:25. Even if you're in a financial valley today, God is not done with your story. He will sustain you. Follow God's financial order. Tithe, save, then spend. God created wealth at the foundation of the world. His universal principles have not changed, and obedience to His word results in overflow. Pay God first. Give Him His portion freely. Joyfully give 10% minimum as a tithe. This is a measurable reflection of trust and faith. Create a biblically based written budget. This will provide documentation on how much you are spending in the core areas, which include your tithing, family, operating costs, emergency savings, shelter, transportation, lifestyle choices, and more. Your second budget line item is your CEO savings account. Remember, you are the CEO, CFO, and COO of You Incorporated by divine right. Also, your budget must be in writing, and you must save all of your receipts so you can track every dollar. Remember, stewardship is accountability. As a certified credit counselor, I spent a lot of time developing a spiritually based budget for our family and our clients. A spiritually based budget is the foundational tool for financial success. I know that success is a decision driven by desire, so I'm going to give those of you who choose to complete this workshop free access to my customized budget. Build an emergency fund. Part of what you earn is yours to keep. The reason we don't have enough is because we spend too much. Preparation is a godly principle. Before you buy unnecessary items, build a 3 to 6 month reserve to protect your household from financial storms. Stop spending. Understand wants versus needs versus greed. Most consumers don't have an income problem. They have a spending problem because they spend more than they earn. Before you spend your money, decide if it is something you need or something you want. Would you rather have $5,000 in the bank or $5,000 worth of clothes and furniture? Pay as agreed. Keep your word. The Bible calls those who owe and do not pay wicked. The wicked borrow and do not repay. Psalms 37:21. If you borrowed it, honor the agreement. This isn't just good financial advice, it's biblical character and righteousness. Avoid unnecessary debt. It's a trap. The borrower is slave to the lender. Proverbs 22:7. Debt is the enemy of freedom. When you borrow to consume instead of build, you exchange your future for temporary satisfaction. Use debt only for wealth-producing assets and investments. Build wealth slowly and track every expense. Wealth quickly gained is quickly wasted. Remember, a penny doubled every day for 30 days is over $10 million. That's the power of the compound effect. So you must know where every penny goes. When you track it, you control it. Master self-discipline. Delayed gratification builds wealth. Delayed gratification helps you understand wants versus needs versus greed. Use that formula. Ask yourself if this is a need, a want, or simply greed. I've seen people earning over 6 figures who have less wealth than someone earning 20,000 because they spend with no plan and are influenced by fake lifestyles and social pressure. Lead with gratitude. Contentment is wealth in itself. Be thankful for what you have and count your blessings before asking for more. Instead of complaining about old shoes, thank God for feet. Give generously, cheerfully, freely, and purposefully. Your giving should be intentional, not impulsive. God loves a cheerful giver. 2 Corinthians 9:7. A generous person will proffer. Whoever refreshes others will be refreshed. Proverbs 11:25. You are blessed to be a blessing. Wealth multiplies when it's shared, not hoarded. Save the young and the restless. Who wants to be a millionaire? As our youth begin their professional journey, they will go through $1 million. Do the math. $40,000 per year over 25 years equals $1 million. We spend a lot of money on behalf of our children to prepare them, so make sure they start off early with financial awareness and their own budget, because they will spend a lot of their lifetime working for money. As we teach them how to earn a living, make sure they know and follow God's blueprint so they can enjoy the blessings of His promises. Help them understand that when your income exceeds your outcome, your upkeep becomes your downfall. Make sure they put God first and experience the joy of giving back, serving, and honoring God. Warn them against the temptation of credit cards that they can easily abuse before they have the income, education, and discipline to manage them. Make your child an authorized user on an account that you pay properly to help them build a healthy credit profile early. Raise them with a strong work ethic that includes chores and volunteer service. Give them an allowance and a budget. Hold them accountable. and raise them with an attitude of gratitude and appreciation for everything they receive. Fight back. The world says spend now and pay later. God says owe no man anything but to love one another. Romans 13:8. The world says credit is freedom. God says the borrower is servant to the lender. Proverbs 22:7. The world profits when you pay minimum payment for decades. God profits when you multiply the talents he entrusted to you as a steward to serve him. In the credit system, you are often guilty until proven innocent. Credit card companies and their stockholders make a lot of money from consumers who do not use credit wisely. They pay excessive interest and fees, plus credit scores tank when consumers owe more than 30% of the high credit balance. Satan wants you and your family strangled in debt generationally. You must fight back and consider debt the enemy. Fighting back starts with prayer, faith, education, discipline, thanksgiving, and action. These are credit card management tips based on the 15-step blueprint to terminate credit card debt. Do this and watch the blessings flow. Create a spiritually prioritized budget. This is very important because your first budget item must be your tithing to God. This must be prioritized so God can bless you in accordance with his word. You will not see this line item in man-made budgets, so I will give you free access to the spiritually prioritized budget that I developed. Use this budget to track your income and expenses so you can better understand your spending habits. Allocate a portion of your budget specifically for debt repayment. Prioritize payments. Focus on paying off high interest debt. Use the snowball or stacking method, which involves paying off the smallest debt first to build momentum, and enjoy that process. Stop spending. Negotiate with creditors. Contact your credit card company to negotiate lower interest rates, waive fees, or set up a more manageable payment plan. They can do a lot of things if you ask. Use a 0% no interest balance transfer and use the money you save to pay down your higher interest rate credit cards. This can simplify payments and reduce interest cost. Plus, the money you save can be used to increase payments. This reduces the principal faster and decreases the total interest paid. Cut expensive. Identify and eliminate non-essential expenses. Look at your subscriptions. How much do you spend on food? Redirect the saved money towards debt repayment. Use cash or debit cards and cut up all credit cards except one. Use credit cards with grace period and no annual fees. Use other people's money by paying all credit cards in full monthly and avoid paying interest. Boost your income. Look for ways to increase your income, such as taking on a part-time job, reducing taxes, starting a business, freelancing, or selling unused items. Use windfalls wisely. Apply any unexpected windfalls, such as taxes, refunds, bonuses, or gifts, directly to your credit card. Set up automatic payments. Automate your payments to avoid late fees and ensure consistent progress in paying down debt. Seek professional help. If you're overwhelmed, consider consulting a credit counseling agency. They can help you create a debt management plan and offer financial education. Avoid new debt. Commit to not using your credit cards while paying down existing debt. Switch to cash or debit cards to control spending. Track progress. Regularly review your debt repayment progress to stay motivated and make adjustments as necessary. Implementing these strategies can help you systematically reduce your credit card debt and regain financial stability. Avoid the credit traps. Credit reporting agencies, credit cards, debit cards, and collection companies are a threat to healthy credit. That is why you have the right to dispute information that you do not believe is accurate. This is an overview of what to look for and how to fight back. Credit reporting information is prone to errors because it is collected from thousands of different sources, including lenders, landlords, utility companies, and courts, each of which can make mistakes in reporting. Common problems include human data entry errors, such as misspelled names or incorrect social security numbers. delayed or missing updates that make on-time payments appear late, and inconsistent reporting. Since not all creditors report to all three major bureaus, your credit profile can have incomplete or conflicting information. Sometimes similar names or social security numbers cause records to erroneously merge. This causes your information to be mixed up with another person. You can also be a victim of identity theft. Old or closed accounts may also remain listed as active or delinquent, and public record items like bankruptcies or judgments can be recorded incorrectly or not removed after resolution. Because credit bureaus rely on the information provided by creditors rather than verifying it independently, the burden of proof falls on consumers. So you must regularly check and dispute inaccuracies to protect your credit health. This is the contact information for the three top credit reporting agencies. Each bureau has an online dispute process. However, each company has their own verification process. Your dispute must be accurate and timely. Remember, information from judgments do not automatically go away. Judgments can be reaffirmed, and even if they did not appear on your credit report, they may still be attached to you. Some types of accounts, such as bankruptcy, do have statutory timelines for reporting, but do not assume they will be automatically removed. Make sure you are proactive in requesting in writing that they be removed. Credit card danger. Credit card companies are strangling our society. They make it very easy to get in debt. You must fight back against the convenience and instant gratification that credit cards represent. In fact, according to Y-Chart's New York Fed, as of 2024, the total credit card debt in the United States is approximately $1.115 trillion. The next few sections of this blueprint will give you inside secrets that I have used to help my clients fight back and win. Debit card danger. Part of managing credit cards is controlling the use of debit cards. Debit card use must be managed as part of your budget. They are convenient and very easy to misuse and overdraw if you do not use them wisely. Plus, the banks make a lot of money when consumers overdraw. Budget their use strictly by only allowing yourself to access the amount you need according to your budget. If more than one person has access to the same debit account, it is critical that a clear budget and communication is performed consistently. These are 6 secrets to fight debit card danger. Activate overdraft protection. This prevents costly return checks and fees. Overdraft protection is cheaper than penalties. Track spending in real time. Use a smartphone app to deduct that transaction amount instantly. It takes 21 days to build a habit, and success is a decision, so command the self-discipline to make this happen. Plan for automatic drafts. Budget ahead and make sure the funds are reserved for recurring charges. Avoid phone authorizations and watch out for online scams. Never allow debit drafts over the phone, and be careful about providing online credit information. Once funds are drafted, they are difficult to recover. Skip major purchases and online shopping with debit cards. Debit card charges are harder to dispute and recover if something happens. Don't use debit cards to reserve a hotel room. The amount of money reserved on your debit card can be up to 3 times the room rate. This means those funds are not available, and this can mess up your budget. Instead, reserve the room with a credit card and pay the balance with your debit card at the end of your stay. This way you control your account. Collection company warnings. Collection companies are debt collectors who buy or who are assigned unpaid debt for pennies on the dollar. Their job is to aggressively attempt to recover the full amount plus fees, interest, and sometimes inflated charges. Their profit depends on collecting more than they paid. This means their tactics can be relentless. This can include illegal scare tactics. You know about the repeated phone calls, threatening letters, damaging entries to your credit report, and even legal action. Many consumers don't realize it. Errors, expired statutes of limitation, or missing documentation can make a debt uncollectible. If you don't fight back and ask questions by demanding proof in writing, dispute inaccuracies, and know your rights, you risk paying debts you may not even owe. You could also suffer unnecessary credit damage, and stress. You will stay trapped in the cycle of financial bondage. Standing up to them is very empowering. It isn't just about saving money, it's about protecting your financial freedom and peace of mind. This is my warning, and I see this all the time. Just because a company sends you a letter and contacts you, that does not mean you owe them. As a smart consumer, you should require written validation of any debt before you pay it. Many accounts are sold multiple times, so do not pay any company without valid proof of the debt. Collection companies have a lot of tricks and experience, so let's break the chains with these 12 secrets to defeat debt collectors. Do not ignore collection letters because they can be considered valid if you do not dispute them. This can result in default judgments and garnishments. Take control. Only speak to the credit manager and write down the name, address, phone number, date, email, and operator number of the company and the company representative. Understand that your conversation is being recorded, so do not acknowledge the debt. Ask for a written breakdown of all charges by date and company. Do not acknowledge the debt and continually let them know that you have no written record of contracting with them. Insist on written verification that you have contracted specifically with that company. Do not provide a credit card payment or allow your account to be debited. Don't be bullied. Do not provide any financial information over the phone. Be prepared with account information and any receipts that support your position, and try to work it out with the original creditor. Insist that they provide written documentation that you have contracted with them and a copy of any assignment from the original creditor. Send a written request by email or registered mail that you only want to be notified in writing. That's very important. Send a written request for verification by registered mail to any company on your credit report asking for verification of the debt. Contact an attorney if you need help. Credit myths and misconceptions. It does not cost you points to obtain your own consumer credit report. Also, some mortgage companies can obtain a soft pull that does not impact your credit score. Your credit score may be different from each bureau because they use different data and scoring models to compute your credit score. A consumer credit report cannot be used to obtain a mortgage loan. It is simply a guide. Your credit score can change daily as information is reported, paid, and not paid. Do not co-sign. When you co-sign, you are 100% responsible for loan repayment if the other party does not pay. This can impact your credit and your ability to borrow money. Also, some consumers think that if they double their payment on a credit card, they can skip a month. This is not true. Installment loans on credit cards and vehicles must be paid monthly, or you can be charged with a 30-day late on your credit report. This late payment can lower your credit score for years. Remember also that different types of companies, such as credit unions, can help strengthen your credit profile. That's why some consumers choose secured accounts to help build healthy credit. God's blueprint for financial peace. Make no mistake, debt is a spiritual weapon. It robs your time, energy, and freedom so you have less to give to God's work. It destroys marriages, limits opportunities, and teaches our children that bondage is normal. But you are not called to be a slave. You are called to be free, to be fruitful, and to leave an inheritance for your children's children. Proverbs 13:22. It's time to transform your life, break generational curses, and step into the overflow God promised you. I've seen God turn it around when his universal principles of wealth are applied. Remember, thou shalt lend and not borrow. Deuteronomy 15:6. Since God does not want us in debt, you must fight back and consider debt the enemy. Fighting back starts with prayer, faith, education, discipline, thanksgiving, and action. Unfortunately, many of us have violated God's principles, which leaves us drowning in debt, so we spend more time working and less time serving God, who is the source of all spiritual blessings. This is a vicious cycle that leads to generational debt and poverty. Credit is intentionally marketed to bring pleasure, enjoyment, and easy lifestyle living. Many are enamored by the glamour and sucked into the fake news of artificial happiness and success. Do not fall for this trap. Credit should only be used for wealth building assets. If you use credit to last between paychecks, you are in trouble. If you use credit to buy items that won't be available in 30 days when the bill comes due, such as food, or you make impulsive purchases just because it's on sale and you do not pay your credit card in full monthly, you are abusing credit. As a certified housing and credit counselor, I have seen erroneous credit reported on innocent minors due to abuse from family, credit errors, or fraud. I've personally witnessed how credit ignorance, misunderstanding, and mismanagement can strangle our youth and block families from accessing the blessings God intended for them. I have seen strong income earners with healthy savings account and bad credit because they choose to allow accounts to become delinquent even though they have the money and the capacity to pay it. I've seen credit used and abused for items they don't need. That's because many do not use godly wisdom to discern between wants versus needs versus greed. I've seen consumers who simply refuse to pay their creditors while other consumers work hard to fulfill their financial commitments with integrity. I've seen consumers with strong integrity who made bad decisions or who did not have the proper information to make good decisions and who now want the blessings of healthy credit. Regardless of your situation, keep the faith and follow this blueprint. Pray over your finances and boldly ask God for what you want. Read and follow the prayer of Jabez in 1 Chronicles 4:10. It is a bold, faith-filled request for God's blessing, protection, and divine favor. It reflects a heart that desires growth, influence, and alignment with God's purpose without bringing harm to others. Use this 12-step prosperity path to God-approved buying decisions. Have I prayed for guidance on this decision? Why am I exchanging my money for this? Is this something I need? Is this something I want? Does this purchase appreciate or depreciate? Will this decision empower me or entangle me? Will it be consumed before it's paid off? How long will it take me to pay it off? How much interest will I pay? Is the monthly payment affordable? Do I really want to exchange my hard-earned money for this? And what will happen if I don't buy it? Healthy credit success requires a change from the inside out. Change is motivated by pain or gain, and the number one characteristic for success is desire. Since you are not here by coincidence, what is your motivation for healthy credit? I want you to write down your why with today's date so it can motivate you to do the hard work of changing mindsets and habits. My motivation. Personally, I did not like the creditors and predators stalking us for payments. Early in our marriage, we were so far behind on our house note that the mortgage company came and knocked on our door to see if we still lived there. I have seen friends and family members evicted in generational poverty caused by the burden of debt. As I grew in my faith and knowledge of the Word of God, my mindset shifted from a scarcity consciousness to a prosperity consciousness. I prayed, studied, and leaned on God's promises and the power that God placed in us. My favorite scripture is Ephesians 3, verse 20. My other favorite scripture is 1 Corinthians 2:16, which says, "We have the mind of God in us." Based on my faith in God's word, I coined the phrase, "All wealth is in the mind, and your mind has always been free." As I matured spiritually, my thinking became more empowering, and I started studying biblical principles so I could be a good steward of God's blessings, live a peaceful life, and apply good habits that I could pass on to my children. So what is your why? It is critical that you fortify and document your why. Satan wants to snare you and keep you in debt, so document and share your why. Find a like-minded accountability partner and create your vision board of how you want your life to look without financial stress. Don't chase wealth, become wealth. Bonus. Today you've learned the truth about the credit system and how it's designed to enslave you, how biblical principles can set you free from financial bondage, how to manage, protect, and grow your credit God's way. Practical, actionable steps to eliminate debt and build generational wealth. Take action. Access your free credit report today from www.annualcreditreport.com. Pray over it. Highlight every account. Make a plan to align every decision with God's financial blueprint. This is the scan code and overview to our free spiritually based budget. This budget is the foundational tool for financial peace because it aligns with God's universal principles. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel for more free information and to help me provide additional free content. Please use this scan code to connect directly with me to address questions or personal concerns. Let's walk in God's purpose on purpose together. And please receive my final blessing, Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future.